Analysis by Cancer Research UK found almost 30,000 more deaths would have been expected among under 25s if survival rates had remained at levels seen in the 1970s. Instead, thanks to research breakthroughs, the proportion of children surviving for at least 10 years after diagnosis has more than doubled. Michelle Mitchell, Cancer Research's chief executive, said, "Seeing 30,000 deaths avoided in children and young people is an overwhelming illustration of what an amazing change research has made." Comparable figures for all under 25s are not available due to changes in the way survival rates are calculated. But data for children under 15 shows that between 1971 and 1975, only 36% of those diagnosed with cancer in Britain survived for 10 years. The proportion has now leapt to 80%, according to latest UK figures from 2007 to 2011. Dr. Mark Mansour, clinical professor of paediatric hemato-oncology at University College London, said the progress had been truly astounding. He said tailored treatments, a better understanding of different types of cancer and the development of game-changer immunotherapy drugs had all helped. But he added, there is still lots of work to be done, particularly for children with difficult-to-treat cancers such as brain tumors or relapsed leukemia. Dr. Sally George, a consultant pediatric oncologist, said many common childhood tumors are quite different to adult cancers, including neuroblastoma, which is the focus of her work. All cancer arises because of a mutation in a gene, but adult cancers tend to accumulate mutations over time as you get older, she explained. Quite often, childhood tumors occur very early and it can just be one mutation in one gene. These mutations are occurring when the cells are still developing, they're still in the embryo. Trying to understand how that drives aggressive childhood cancers can lead to better ways to treat them. Around 4,400 children and young people aged under 25 are diagnosed with cancer every year in the UK. The most common types among under 15s are leukemias, brain and spinal tumors and lymphomas. Together, these account for around 2/3 of all childhood cancers. Professor Steve Clifford, director of the Newcastle University Centre for Cancer, praised the increase in survival rates but added, "We must remember that hidden underneath this headline figure, there are cancer types that remain very difficult to cure, and that current effective treatments can be long, grueling, and often cause lifelong side effects." There is still much work to do, research is more important than ever. Amarvar Chadha Amarvar was diagnosed with aggressive blood cancer aged just 6 after he collapsed and was rushed to hospital. As well as having acute lymphoblastic leukemia, he had blood poisoning and his organs were shutting down. Amarvar, now 17, responded well to treatment despite setbacks including infections and his right lung collapsing. He said, "I had 3 years of chemotherapy and am in remission. But I don't take anything for granted." Amarvar, of Essex, added, "It's amazing to think how survival has improved and I am hopeful it will continue going into the future, too." Elliot Abel Elliot was diagnosed with Hodgkin lymphoma aged 14 and took part in a clinical trial funded by Cancer Research UK called EURONET PHLLP1. It investigated whether a less intensive treatment regime for children and young people with his condition could reduce the long-term side effects. Elliot, 22, of Essex, said, "I was pleased about the trial as it meant the treatment would not go on for as long. Doctors said I responded well to it and I am in remission." He added, "In recent years I've been more involved with Cancer Research UK and been able to become an ambassador for them." Klara Markovic. Klara was diagnosed with blood cancer aged just 4 and given a 50% chance of survival. She had 4 rounds of chemotherapy and 7 surgical procedures for acute myeloid leukemia, with the final op in 2013. Inspired by her carers, Klara trained as a children's cancer nurse, and the 24-year-old, pictured in set above as a child, is studying in Germany for a master's in international health. Klara, from Barnet, North London, said she still lives with the side effects of her treatment, including scars and leg pain. She said, "I never stop worrying about it coming back. But it also reminds me how privileged I am." Comment by Michelle Mitchell. "Every day we see the progress that our researchers are making in overcoming the challenges facing children and young people with cancer. Seeing 30,000 deaths avoided in children and young people is an overwhelming illustration of what an amazing change research has made. But there are still obstacles. Survival for some children's cancers hasn't improved much since the 70s, and many children and young people find their lives changed by treatment they undergo when they are young. It's also complicated by the fact that cancer is different in children and young people compared with adults, from the types of cancers to the impact of treatment and long-term side effects that many survivors experience. But across the country, our researchers are working tirelessly to gain a better understanding around the biology of cancers that affect newborns to 24-year-olds, and are continuing to develop more effective treatments with fewer side effects. Cancer Research UK's Children and Young People team are committed to building on the progress we have made over the last 50 years. They are making more of this research happen and improving survival and reducing long-term side effects for children and young people who are suffering with cancer." Michelle Mitchell is Cancer Research UK Chief Executive.